Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna.
I'm Paula, and today we have Katie McGhie with us. How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Good.
Fantastic. So tell us, what has 2020 been for you?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think like everybody, it's been a roller coaster personally, but oddly enough, for me, the first half of the year was really busy, and I happen to have a lot of work in the can that I had planned on doing at a different time, and so it was really busy. Now at the end of the year, it's been slow, but it's definitely been a roller coaster. I mean, I think everyone's feeling that, where some days it feels amazing to just have all this free time and do what you want, and then 20 minutes later you're crying watching a Hallmark movie and questioning everything about life. So that's pretty much, I think, 2020 in a nutshell. It's busy, but also feels oddly just out of body, I think.
Yeah, it has been kind of a surreal experience for everybody.
Yeah, completely.
But we're almost at the end. We are almost there.
Yes, and then the second it hits 2021, everything changes. We're all praying. We're all praying that like magic happens on New Year's, you know.
And everything just disappears. And 2020 never existed.
Exactly.
That's what we're looking for, totally.
Aside from all the chaos of this year, I was really looking forward to 2020 because after years of watching Barbara Walters, you know, it's just one of those things you're like, you just have to go with that joke of, hi, I'm Barbara Walters and this is 2020. Like,
oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. But that is true. It's so perfect. And then 2020 happened, and it's not quite that, is it?
It's been a bit crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, it's built us, it's made us all stronger. We've all come out of this a new perspective on life.
Completely.
Totally.
Exactly.
So, tell us about your new singles out this year. You've got Home and Renegade. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had a few. So I started the year off with Renegade, and that was planned. I had planned to kind of do that this year and had a video shoot all planned and whatnot. That was a song I actually wrote a couple of years ago, just when I was feeling, you know, kind of weird about day jobs and things, and feeling like I just wasn't meant for any of that. And I think we can all, no matter what it is, I think we've all been there, where it's just like, I don't feel what everyone else seems to be feeling about things, you know? So Renegade started off the year, and it was really exciting. And we got to shoot this video. You know, I grew up in LA, so I have a lot of random, you know, most people I know are in the industry in some way, just kind of a byproduct of growing up in Los Angeles. And so a friend of mine they have this ranch where people film movies and things. And so it was really cool. We got to go out to the desert and shoot this video. And it felt like oddly like I was in some sort of space movie for some reason, even though that's not the song at all. But these rocks and things, but it was really cool. And then, you know, and that was like, I had released that the first couple of weeks of when LA shut down. And at that point, I think we all thought like, okay, you know, a month, maybe we'll be shut down and life will go back to normal. And then it didn't. And I actually, Home, I had released it last year, and then I pulled it just because I was kind of reworking some stuff and kind of, rethinking kind of how to approach, the music that I wanted to release. I was going to do a full album this year, and whatnot. So I ended up basically, is there a weird sound on your end too, or is that just me? I'm not sure. It's hearing some funky noises, but okay. I'm not sure. Anyhow, so, and then I got to thinking about it, and Home just kind of happened to be very on point for what was going on, and the song really is about, like, no matter what happens, like, you can always come home, and that may not be a physical place. It might be just another person or a feeling or just a memory or something, but really just that idea that, like, you always have somewhere to go to that will open its arms to you. And so basically I decided to release it, and then I just kind of asked all of my friends and my family to send me videos of them singing along at home, because we all were at home and it just seemed too perfect of a moment not to take advantage of that. So everyone filmed these videos of them singing along at home, and I got a lot of, like, hate texts being like, "This is so awkward. I hate you, but I love you." But forcing my non-performer, friends and family who are like, "I don't know what to do." I said, "Just sing along." But the video came out really cool, and for me, it'll be something that that'll mean a lot to me for a long time, just remembering this time. And I've had a lot of people reach out and say that, when they're feeling down, they kind of put that on. And right now, even though we're all stuck at home, there is still something comforting about being home. So those are the songs that started off the year. And, I have a few radio stations and Spotify curators and stuff here in the States that have been so supportive this year. And they gave it a lot of love this year, which is really cool to see. So that's what started off the year. And then I had a few more songs and an album that came out. And so, like I said, I was busy the first 6 months of all of this. Yeah.
And it just sort of calms down. And
it generally does. It generally has this weird gap between, September to December. It's usually slows down, and then the 2 weeks before Christmas then become this whole massive craziness, and then you don't hear from anyone for 2 weeks. So
everybody's trying to recover then.
Yeah, exactly.
On that feedback, do you have your cell phone near the computer, Paula?
My cell phone's.
Nope. I wonder if it's one of our apps. It has to be something.
I know. I kept touching my phone. I was like, I'm not near anything. But...
I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear it. I don't think my phone was going
so
off.
It's probably you, because we hear it. So
yeah,
we're blaming
Remember
you.
those technological issues we were talking about? Here they are. They didn't want to leave us hanging. So.
Seriously, yeah, we can't do it without a technical issue. Seriously, it wouldn't
absolutely
be
not.
if it was.
It wouldn't do 2020 any justice if we did it normally.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be Crazy Women for sure.
No,
exactly.
We do technical issues the best.
Yeah.
So who are some of the sheroes and the women that have inspired you to do what you're doing today? Obviously, growing up in Los Angeles, that can bring a whole different array than just music.
Yeah. I grew up, I actually grew up doing musical theater. And so a lot of the women that inspired me, at least growing up, were, performers that, are infamous for Broadway. And I looked up to the Bette Midlers of the world, and all of the big Broadway names. And then, but in our household, music was kind of, it was all over the place. It was everything from, folk and whatnot to classical to rock and roll. And so for me, growing up, I was a huge Celine Dion fan. Long hours driving. We have a home up in the mountains, and it was always me in the backseat, just like belting Celine Dion songs as a 5-year-old, and my parents just trying to get through the drive. But those are the women, you know, I've always looked up to the women who are just that approach their work, one, with professionalism and like just extreme passion. To me, that's so important. But also just a lot of class. I think that, you know, and it looks different, obviously, in today's day and age, kind of how we approach things. But I think that if you're always just kind of true to yourself, that brings like a certain class to your work. And I think just, you know, you can tell those women are surrounded by people that truly care about them. And so that's been something I've always cared about. But, you know, for me, honestly, my mom is just my best friend in the world. And she's always been the biggest cheerleader. She knows nothing about the business, nothing about anything, but she is a huge just arts and music lover. And so, you know, she took me to my first concert at 7 years old. And she took me, you know, the first Broadway show I saw, I was like maybe 9, you know, and it was just so important for her to expose me to that stuff. And I think that was important. Nowadays, I mean, I grew up on country, and Dolly Parton, to me, again, she's just exudes passion and class, and she's a kind human. And I think that that's so important. And I'm a huge Brandi Carlile fan. Again, someone who just is so clearly themselves and supports others and encourages them to be themselves. So, and her music is just my favorite. So, yeah. And, you know, I'm really fortunate to be around a lot of women in this business. And I think that there's a huge misconception, and especially it's portrayed in the media and whatnot, of women who are like butting heads. And this, they put, I mean, it happens with men too, but they put everybody up against everybody. And, you know, I'm really thankful that I grew up in a community where it's just pure support all the time. And whether that's in music or in theater or in film, like we're all rooting for each other. And, you know, someone calls and says, hey, I got to get this thing done by tomorrow and I have to turn it in. It's like, okay, how can we all band together and help? And so really, to me, it's just about building that community. And I'm thankful to have those women in my life, just my friends who are so supportive and encouraging along the way.
Perfect. Yeah, I think the media definitely, especially when it comes to women, I think they like that drama that women are out to get each other, and you know they're all cutthroat and
yeah, it makes a better story for them, which I get. You know, it's entertainment essentially, but you know, I guess it would be boring to see. I mean, not for me, but to just see everyone cheering each other on. I don't know. I think that would be great, but yeah, I think it's really cool when you can see that, you know, and someone supporting someone else.
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
that's one thing I can say, doing what we've been doing. We see that a lot, and it's great, especially when we do the live shows, even with our technical issues, just everyone supports each other. And
yeah. I think that's been one of the coolest things to see this year, even though it's absolutely insane and the world is so confusing and up and down all the time. I think that everyone has been so supportive of the arts and music, and no matter what happens, it's like, cool, we're just all glad to be able to do it and see it. And, you know, if someone calls me and they say, hey, I've got this last minute thing, can you do it? I'm like, yes, I'm there, because, you know, the most important thing, you know, to us is to be able to share what we do. And that was kind of taken away, you know, for artists who are more independent and we don't have a bigger stage to stand on. You know, these smaller venues to us are so important. And so if someone calls me and they say, hey, come play in my backyard, I'm like, I am there, whatever you need, you know, and we don't care. I'm like, I don't care if it sounds good or it looks good. I just want to do what I do, you know.
I mean, that's one thing I think we've heard, especially through country music. A lot of the artists we've spoken to have all said, no matter what, they've moved across the country with nothing, but people have been there within the industry to support them. You know, people who are supposed to be rivals, but they've given them a sofa to sleep on, or, you know, a spare room or something. You know, there's always a huge support in well, as you said, we ain't know country music at the moment, but there's been a huge support for people trying to get into the industry. So
I think we all get it. If you're an artist, at some point you've likely come across an obstacle or a hard time, and whether you're creating music or you're on the, you're behind the scenes or you're doing a podcast, whatever, we've all come across that time when you need someone to just like give you a little shoulder to lean on, And so I think, the people who are just genuine and there to offer that, like that's the real community of artists. And I think right now it's so important because, it shows you that the world really can't live without it. They can't live without music and entertainment and, and these kinds of podcasts where people can connect with, other artists and hear their stories. And, and so for you guys to provide that platform right now, it's like the world clearly, our comfort is entertainment and art. And it's always been that way, I think, for all time. So, no matter how, I feel like that's like the most encouraging part about this year is it's like, no matter what happens, everyone's going to be like, okay, like I'll go play in a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. I don't care. Like I will make it happen. We will make a podcast happen around the world. Doesn't matter.
Perfect. I love that. That's the best.
Yeah,
definitely. So as obviously this year's been so crazy and stuff, if you could talk to anyone, and I say dead or alive because it doesn't have to be music, it doesn't have to be within your realm here, it could be something totally off the wall, who would you want to talk to and what would you want to talk to them about?
Oh goodness. Gosh. I guess I have a few answers, but my dad passed away a long time ago, and in my early 20s, and this year I've thought about him a lot and thought about what he would be thinking about, and how he was the most easygoing man on the planet. Almost, it was so annoying, because everything just like rolled right off of his shoulders, and he would probably be making the most out of this. And I'd be so curious to see, kind of his perspective on this year. And, I actually started doing music after he passed away. So I'd be curious to see what he thought about all, that I was doing now and whatnot. And so that is something I really thought about a lot this year, of just like, what would he be thinking about all of this? I mean, especially here in the States, it has been so strange. It's just been a very bizarre year. And I'd be so curious to get that perspective. Also, my other immediate answer was Freddie Mercury, because I'm a huge Queen fan. And I just always think about the artists that have passed that were really so huge for the industry. And I think about I always think about what kind of music he would be making now with the, the technology that we have and what they'd be doing. But I think about like him or David Bowie or somebody, like how would they approach, like, I feel like, saying, hey, by the way, you're going to be stuck at home for a year. They'd be like, cool, and they just create some masterpiece, So I would be curious about that too. So yeah. My dad and Freddie Mercury, I guess.
That'd be a great conversation.
One in the same. I'd like to get both of them in a room for sure.
That'd be a great conversation. I love that one.
Yeah.
So would you like to get started on the quick fire questions, Paula?
You
really are off today.
No. You missed the question.
You after that conversation of who we want to talk to type of a thing, and
she had a good birthday, and the woman deserves 10 minutes of. I don't know.
You forgot a question. You forgot the support question. Did you?
Well, she already answered that one without even asking.
Oh well.
Yeah, we usually ask the question about if you could thank someone for their support, who would it be? Well, you already mentioned your mother, so.
I would. I'll add to it. How about that?
There you go, yes.
But okay. So I actually, you hear a lot of stories about people who don't kind of have to go at it alone, and I understand it, and I just that like hits my heart so much. But I feel very blessed in that I grew up in this everyone thinks LA is obviously, it's a massive city, but I think anyone that grew up here knows that it's kind of a weirdly small town. Like everyone knows someone, and if you don't know them, you know someone who knows them. And I still run into people that I went to like preschool with. So it's a very small town. But, I was really fortunate to grow up with just my parents had a lot of close friends, and their kids were, my close friends. And I still get messages from like my second grade teacher, saying like, we're rooting for you. We can't wait to see what happens next. Oh, a kitty. Mine was here a second ago. I have like animal ADD. Like if I see an animal, I can't focus. But yeah, so I think that just the general community that I grew up with, I've mentioned it a lot, but I think that that's like a huge factor in the fact that I'm still going with this. I'm not at the top of the game yet, or by any means, but I absolutely would not be where I be where I am without that huge support group of just family, friends, and also the theater company I grew up in. I still have, all of these people rooting for me and mutually, and we have some people who are bigger names than others, and we still are like giddy little teenagers when anyone does anything. We're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's on TV or something, like it's a big change. But to me, yeah, so I'm just really thankful for those people in my life, that I've always had surrounding me. I feel like you were saying, if anything were to happen, I know that I'd have a couch to sleep on across this country, somewhere. And that means the world.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, quick fire questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Back for
I'm on cue now.
Says hello.
Look,
Okay, I'm
These are
so
other
sad.
co-hosts.
My cat was in here a second ago, and now he's run away to sleep for the rest of the day, probably.
Wakes up every day at the time we start recording, and yeah, that's it.
Of course, that's how it goes. Every live stream.
Yep.
Every live stream I do, somehow my cat just like decides that's the time to get on to the keyboard while I'm trying to play. So
that's what cats are for.
it is true. It's true.
Okay, so quick fire questions.
Okay.
Now I'm with the ball. The brain's working again, seriously.
I hope mine is.
These are dead easy. They're just fun questions for people and your fans, just to get to know you a little bit better. Okay, so are you an early bird or a night owl?
Ooh, a little bit of both. I absolutely love mornings, but my body and my mind want to be up till 4 a.m. every day. So that's a tough balance, but I love the mornings. I hope one day I can become a very good morning person. One day, here's hoping.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, everybody hung, so I wasn't too sure if anybody had stopped or what.
Oh.
Beach or countryside?
Oh, again, both. I'm a California girl, so you can't take me away from the ocean. I don't think I could ever be landlocked, but absolutely love country. Grew up half my life in the mountains, so being in the mountains and the trees and open area, that's so great. So I guess it would be depending on the time of year. Give me a good summer by the beach.
Yes, that makes sense. Favorite season?
Ooh, I'm a summer person. Yeah, I love the winter, but I just love being outdoors. So I love hiking and I love being at the beach, and so probably like spring and summer.
Perfect. What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear? Whew. I don't even know, really. I guess just kind of not staying true to myself. Really, I think at the end of the day, I just always want people to know me and my heart and where I'm coming from. And I always want to it's why I'm still doing this career, even with its ups and downs. If I'm not myself, who am I? So that's when I start to go off, the bells start ringing. So
favorite holiday?
Christmas. Huh, Christmas. It's my favorite time of year. I'm sitting in front of my Christmas tree and I turned on the lights because I got it up yesterday and I was like, I just need the lights on at all times now. As you can see, Christmas is basically thrown up on my house. So I'm a Christmas nut.
Perfect. I love Christmas. Favorite drink?
I could not sound more LA than this right now, so I apologize for this, but kombucha. I honestly, I'm kind of a water person, but kombucha to me is like the best thing on the planet. So, and it's great with vodka for those who are above 21.
Do both, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Left-handed or right-handed?
Right.
Perfect. Favorite animal?
Ooh, horses. I'm like a sucker for, I love lions and I love big cats. I think there's something really amazing about them, but my whole life, my mom and dad grew up with horses. And and my aunt has them. So I'm surrounded by them. And there's just something so majestic about them and so powerful and yet so empathetic and kind. So horses.
What's your favorite color?
Blue, but like a deep blue. There's this color of the ocean, and it's like if you go out really far in the ocean, it's just like really deep, deep blue, and that is my favorite color in the world.
Oh, tell us something that people don't know about you.
Do people not know about me? Let's see. Oh, this is people who know me, some people know, but not everybody does. This is a strange fact to share, but I have webbed toes. So I have like 2 toes that are webbed. And I think that that's really cool because a lot of people don't have that. And my mom was like, yeah, keep it because it makes her unique. So that's a strange thing to share. But that is something.
We love strange things, yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Strange things is good.
Yeah. So tell us one of your hobbies.
I'm a big yoga person. God, I really do sound like I'm from LA, but yoga. I started, like I said, I grew up doing theater. And so in college, I was kind of introduced to yoga, just in dance classes and whatnot. And then over the past, 8 or 9 years, it's just it's like the best thing for your body and your mind, I swear. And again, built a really amazing community around it, but I love it. And I love trying to do all these like inversions and things and then falling like an idiot but it's fun. And so yeah, I love yoga.
Oh, well, I enjoy it too. I think it's really good for core strength. That's one thing.
Oh, it's so important.
Maybe I'm starting to date myself, but as I'm getting older, the high impact, I'm not enjoying those anymore.
No, same. I for so long, it was that like, oh, well, I got to get out and I got to do this. And I'm like, I actually have never been stronger in my life, and I did a show a couple of years ago. I was in Legally Blonde, the musical, and I played Brooke Wyndham. She's the one in the movie that's like the fitness empire or whatever. And in the musical, you have to do a jump rope number to open the second act. And it's like 5 minutes of just jumping rope and singing. And everyone after the show be like, how do you do that? And I felt like a big jerk being like, yoga, because they probably expected me to say like, oh yeah, I do like CrossFit and I do this. I'm like, I just do yoga. So, and jump rope, but yeah, best thing ever.
I love it.
So if you were a musical, what musical would you be?
Ooh. Oh God. Well, my favorite musical on the planet is Big River, and I'm a huge Mark Twain fan. If you don't know what Big River is, it's basically just the story of Huck Finn, and he narrates the whole thing. And it was written, oh God, now my mind is blanking, but huge country artist, wrote it, and it's just such a fun show. And I did it for like a year and a half, and I mean, cliche, but it is a country musical basically, or like a country bluegrassy type of musical. So, and I just love Huck Finn, and I love those stories, and it's all about inclusivity and standing up for your brother and whatnot. So Big River.
If you were a Disney character, what character would you be?
Ooh, Belle, for sure. I was the biggest Beauty and the Beast fan and would rollerblade around my driveway pretending that I was on Disney on Ice. This is crazy. This is a crazy women podcast, right?
Yeah.
I think I've been crazy my whole life. But yes, Belle, for sure. Still a dream role to do that show.
Perfect. I love Beauty and the Beast.
On
Beauty and the
Ice
Beast
or
is
just
fun.
in general?
I think the audience would be in for a real treat if I tried to do it on ice. So I'll stick to just like a normal flat shoe wearing stage.
It's a great question. I like that. That was really good.
If you were a mythical creature, what creature would you be?
Ooh. Probably, I mean, this is a product of being my mother's daughter, but a dragon or something, I think. I don't know. My mom is like her favorite author is Anne McCaffrey, and she has these just fantasy stories about dragons. And I think as I get older, I find myself like really being interested in the things that my mom was always interested in, that I was like, that's weird. But I think dragons are very similar to me to like a horse. They're very huge and powerful, but like maybe I've only watched 2 episodes of Games of Thrones, but maybe that's why I find them gentle or something. I don't know. But yeah, let's go with dragon.
Oh, okay. So if you had give us a song right now that's like your favorite song that you've been listening to lately, what song would you recommend that we would listen to?
The song that I've been listening to on repeat this year, it's kind of not too much of a throwback, but I listen to almost daily. I listen to Better Get to Livin' by Dolly Parton. Literally every day for the first 3 or 4 months of quarantine, I'd put it on, make my bed and say like, okay, the world shut down, but like, you just gotta keep living. So highly recommend. Always a Dolly Parton song if you want to feel good or cry. There's a lot of good tear jerkers too.
She's a bit of both. Okay.
Yeah.
The final question. See, I'm on the ball now. I'm with it now.
Ooh, all right.
The whole podcast in my brain. What we're doing.
You need some kombucha with vodka in it. That's what you need.
No. That's a good idea, actually. Oh, God. Who is your favorite CWC host?
Oh, gosh. I think it's a combination right here of these 2 amazing, beautiful women.
I love it. That's the best answer, I think.
There's no competition. There's just perfect synchronization.
When it works. When normally and sometimes I'm like, what?
Me too.
Yeah, we had someone that actually thought about it for a while, and they're like, oh, no, I can't answer that.
We thought someone was actually going to answer it, and it was like, what? Damn it.
Then it gets awkward.
We're going to see if we can catch somebody out. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think we will. So what do you have coming up for 2021?
I've been writing a lot, just being at home and kind of expanding on, the new, I don't want to say new direction, but just new kind of wave of music that's been kind of showing up, and so a lot of music. And I actually have a podcast myself, so I'm going to be launching what I call season 2, even though season 1 basically took me 3 years to do. But just chatting with friends and about this business. And so I'll be doing that. And, but yeah, definitely a lot more music and, hopefully some live shows, we'll see. If not, it'll be interesting to see where it all goes. I think that's the hard part about even deciding what to do in the next even month, of like, well, what are we going to be able to do? But that's what I do hope that, you know, I'd love to get some, even to be able to go, you know, travel within the States and be able to perform, because LA's hard, you know, LA's, I think, still pretty much shut down, whereas other places are a little bit more open, a little bit more lax. So hopefully I can escape a little bit and do some shows.
That'd be cool.
So what is your podcast
Yeah.
called?
It's called The Unfiltered Artist. And I just basically chat with different artists, kind of all, you know, of all walks, not just music. It's, I have a lot of friends who are directors. I had a chef on, just people who are creative, and kind of, it's basically just calling BS on the whole thing, and talking about, you know, it's not what it looks like. It's not easy, and just kind of talking about the ups and downs of it, and sharing what people have gone through. So that I think that that's, to me, is so important. You hear, you know, well, yeah, just this overnight thing. And it's just, that's never true. And I think I would love to, as my career develops, be able to inspire, you know, younger artists to realize, like, okay, I'm not the only one struggling with this. This isn't just perfect all the time. And it wasn't easy for these people. Because I even do that now. I'm like Googling aggressively, like, who made it later in life, you know, and to see what they went through. So I think it's just always important to keep that honest, open conversation. So yeah.
Totally. That's perfect. I think it's too many people. I mean, as fans, you probably think, oh, you know, 1 minute they were nobody, next minute they were there, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know,
100%. There's always more to the story. Even people who grew up with, you know, family members in the business or something like that, they're met with their own sets of problems. You know, nobody gets anything without a little bit of, you know, a lot of hard work and obstacles and whatnot. And so, and I think a lot of the time, you know, what's shared is the good story part of it, as opposed to just the honest whole truth. And just because it makes better, you know, makes better entertainment to tell the like cookie cutter perfect version of it. And I just think it's so important to just be open about it and say, like, hey, so this is what I did. I worked 7 jobs to get to where I am, you know, and so yeah.
That's good. That's good. I like that. That's perfect.
I don't say I like 7 jobs, but you know, yeah, that's a
Like, yeah, maybe not the 7 job part, but yeah, you know what I mean.
7 job part isn't great, but I can eat, so that's good.
Yeah, starving artist doesn't work for me.
Yeah. No, I'm not really. Got to keep that yoga body going, you know? Oh, man.
That's so cool. Well, it's been absolutely amazing talking to you, Katie. Absolutely fantastic.
You too, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys, honestly, for just having a platform and sharing people's work. And it's huge. So thank you so much for doing that.
Anytime. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can have you back in the new year.
Yeah, maybe we'll all, I don't know, be living on the moon or something. They'll find a way to get us there, and we're be corona-free. Yes, I'm there. And Barbara Walters will host.
Perfect.
That is, yeah. I'm looking forward to it now.
See, there you go. There you go.
Looking forward to 2021 now. That's so cool.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.